We're going to be talking about the 5 biggest things that are stopping you from becoming insane at Fortnite. Now, no matter how long you've been playing, whether you're a complete beginner or you've been grinding since chapter 1, there's a good chance you're holding yourself back in at least one of these areas. If you stick with me throughout the entire video, I can promise you'll see a difference in how you play, how confident you feel, and how often you come out on top. Mistake number 1, and that is poor mechanics. In Fortnite, mechanics basically cover everything from building, editing, to aiming, and even how smooth your overall game feels. If you think about it, mechanics are the foundation of the entire game. You can have the best game sense in the world, you can be the smartest player in the lobby, but if your builds are clunky, your edits are slow, and your aim is not reliable, you're gonna lose fights you should have won. So what can you do about it? Let's start with something simple: warming up properly. Too many players skip this step. They log in, they queue straight into a match, and they wonder why their hand feels stiff and their builds aren't connecting. Imagine trying to sprint a race without even stretching first. You could tear a muscle and it just won't go well. Warming up in Fortnite is the same idea. Take 10 or 15 minutes in creative before you start playing real matches. Run through an edit course, do some free building, maybe hop on a training map. That small investment of time makes a huge difference once you're in the middle of a real fight. Another thing I see consistently is players trying to focus on flashy, advanced moves before they've even mastered the basics. Now, I know it's tempting to want to triple edit every wall or pull off the kind of clips you see on TikTok, but here's the truth: fundamentals win games. Consistent 90s, clean tunneling, and reliable wall replacements are the bread and butter of good mechanics. If you can do this smoothly and under pressure, you'll beat players who waste time trying to pull off something they aren't even consistent at yet. Now, don't get me wrong, advanced moves are great once you've built up to them, but if you don't have the basics down, you're building a house on shaky ground. Now let's talk about sensitivity and settings. Honestly, this one might be the most underrated factor in all of mechanics. If your sensitivity is way too high, your aim and edits will feel shaky and out of control. If your sense is too low, it's going to feel sluggish, like you can't keep up with faster players. The sweet spot is personal. It's different for everyone, but the only way to find out is through testing. Jump into creative, try different sensitivities, and stick with the one that feels balanced for both building and aiming. And here's the key: a lot of players constantly tweak their settings, but that just resets your muscle memory. Consistency is what makes your mechanics sharp. That same logic applies to your binds or controller layout. If your binds aren't comfortable, you'll always feel a step behind. I see so many people just copy what their favorite pros use, but the truth is what works for them might not work for you. Maybe their hand size is different, maybe their playstyle is different. It does not matter. What matters is that your binds feel natural and easy to reach. Once you've found a setup that makes sense for you, commit to it and grind until it's second nature. And here's my last piece of advice for mechanics: record your own gameplay. I cannot stress this enough. When you're in the middle of a fight, you don't notice half the mistakes you're making. Maybe you're missing edits, maybe you panic build, maybe you waste mats. But when you go back and watch your clips, even just 1 or 2 per session, you'll see exactly where you're slipping up and exactly where you can improve on what you did. Moving on to mistake number 2 is bad game sense. We've covered the mechanics, let's talk about the other half of the equation, which is game sense. This is basically your ability to make smart decisions in the middle of a match: when to fight, when to rotate, when to heal, and where to position yourself. The truth is, a lot of players with cracked mechanics still lose games because they put themselves in bad spots over and over again. One of the most important parts of a game sense is knowing when to take a fight and when to walk away. A lot of players have this fight everyone mentality, but that's not the smartest move. If you're low on mats, if you're getting third partied, or if the storm's closing in, sometimes it's actually better to skip the fight and restart. Smart players know which fights to take and which fights to leave. Another tip is rotating early instead of waiting until the last second. If you're that one player running into the zone while the storm's chasing you, you're already at a disadvantage. Rotating a little bit easier not only puts you in a safer position, but it also gives you the chance to claim high ground or find better cover before the lobby collapses on you. Then there's the importance of sound and visualized sound effects. Fortnite gives you so much free information if you actually pay attention. Footsteps, building sounds, even little audio hints like chest or doors. They all tell you where people are and what they are doing. If you struggle with hearing, turn on visualized sound effects, but either way, make sure you're using all the information the game is giving you. Positioning is also another huge factor. A lot of players just run into the middle of zone and sit there, but that's not always the best choice. Often holding the edge of zone on high ground gives you much better control and vision of players rotating. It's safer, and it also lets you pick off players who are forced to move towards you. If you really want to improve your game sense, watch how the pros play. Not just the highlights, but full matches. Pay attention to where they choose to fight, how they rotate, and the way they use cover. You'll start noticing patterns, and once you apply those patterns to your own game, your decision making will improve drastically. Mistake number 3 is a weak mentality. Let's be honest, sometimes what holds you back in Fortnite isn't your aim or your builds, it's your mindset. Frustration and lack of focus can ruin your gameplay faster than anything else, and one of the biggest mistakes is rage queuing, especially in tournaments. If you catch yourself getting heated, step away for a minute, reset your head before jumping back in, otherwise you'll just repeat the same mistakes. Another shift that helps massively is focusing on one goal per session. Instead of saying I have to win this game, pick something smaller, like practicing your rotations or staying calm in an endgame. You will 100% improve faster faster when you target those specific skills instead of chasing wins every single match. It also helps to celebrate small wins. For example, did you survive longer? Did you pull off a cleaner edit? Recognizing that win keeps you motivated instead of frustrated. And when you lose, which you will, remember that every death is a lesson. Instead of raging, ask yourself, what went wrong? Did I overcommit to a fight? Was my positioning bad? Did I panic build? The last piece is consistency. You don't need to grind 8 hours a day. Even 30 minutes of focused play every single day is better than a huge session every single week. Improvement comes from repetition, not random bursts. So yeah, mechanics and game sense are huge, but if your mentality is not right, you'll plateau. Keep your head clear, set small goals, learn from your mistakes, and stay consistent. You will grow way faster than the guy who's rage quitting every single game. Mistake number 4, and that's poor loadout and resource management. You can be insane mechanically, but if you're running out of mats, carrying the wrong weapons, or mismanaging heals, you're setting yourself up to lose. At minimum, you want a shotgun, an AR, an SMG, and some form of heals. Don't carry 3 healing items around and no mobility, and don't load up on meme weapons unless you're just messing around. Next is to farm those mats early. Too many players wait until mid-game to start harvesting, but by then it's too late. You're already under pressure. Aim to leave your drop spot with at least few hundred mats before you rotate. That way you can actually survive your first real fight. You also need to know when to drop useless items. Carrying an extra sniper you never use or holding onto a triple heals while sacrificing mobility hurts you more than it helps. Building your loadout around your playstyle, but keep it practical. And finally, always track your ammo and mats during fights. It sounds obvious, but so many players panic build and run out mid-battle. Be aware of what you've got left so you can adjust before it's too late. Resource management might not be as flashy as pulling off a double edit, but it wins games. A smart loadout, enough mats, and good awareness gives you the tool to actually execute your mechanics and game sense when it matters. Mistake number 5 is lack of practice and discipline. The last thing stopping a lot of players from improving is simple. They don't actually practice. They just spam public matches hoping they'll get better over time. Spoiler, it does not work like that. The best way is to split your time between creative and battle royale. Creative sharpens your mechanics, battle royale teaches your decision making under pressure. You need both. If you only grind one, you'll always have a weak spot, and another huge boost is using aim trainers or creative aim maps. Even 10 minutes a day tracking bots or flicking targets can make your aim feel way smoother in real fights. And don't just play, review your games. Like I said earlier, you'll catch your mistakes you didn't notice in the moment, and you'll know exactly what to work on next time. At the end of the day, Fortnite is like any skill. The more deliberately you practice, the faster you'll improve. Practice with purpose and you'll start seeing results way sooner. So there you have it, 5 of the biggest mistakes that are holding back players in Fortnite. If you did find this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this with a friend who's trying to improve. Make sure also to use my creator code NVBatch in the item shop. Thanks so much for watching, good luck in your next matches, and I'll catch you in the next one.